I was rushed to the hospital unconscious. The doctors called my parents, but they said, "We can't come. Our other daughter's walking her dog." Can you imagine a moment so utterly devastating, so soul-crushingly real, that it shatters every single belief you ever held about your family? For me, that moment arrived while I was literally fighting for my life in a hospital bed, only to realize my own parents chose a dog walk over being by my side. That, my friends, was the absolute breaking point. My name is Sophia, and at 26, I thought I finally had a handle on things. But that night, everything changed. That night, I decided it was time to leave behind a letter that would alter our family dynamic forever. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, like you're constantly battling for a place you should already have, then you know this feeling. Growing up, our house looked perfect from the outside. White picket fence, 2 daughters, me, the oldest, and my sister Victoria, who arrived 3 years later. But behind that picture-perfect facade, there was a dynamic that warped everything. From the moment Victoria was born, it was like a spotlight had been permanently fixed on her, casting me into the shadows. I remember when I was 7. I won first place at the school science fair, a bright blue ribbon clutched in my hand. I burst through the door, so incredibly proud, ready to show Mom and Dad. They gave me a quick pat on the head, a mumbled, "Good job," before their attention snapped back to Victoria, who was learning to ride her bike without training wheels. A bike. I told myself it made sense. That was a bigger milestone, right? By the time I was 12, I was an expert at these mental gymnastics. Straight A's on my report card? A quiet nod from Mom, but her enthusiastic praise was reserved for Victoria's B- in art class. When I qualified for the state swimming championships, my dad said he was proud, but couldn't possibly attend because Victoria had a minor cold and needed him at home. I'd always make excuses for them. They were busy. Victoria was younger and needed more attention. I was just more independent. I convinced myself these were all reasonable explanations for why my achievements seemed to vanish into thin air, while Victoria was celebrated for every tiny accomplishment. What made things even more complicated was my health. At 16, I was diagnosed with a severe autoimmune disorder. Daily medication, regular monitoring, and strict avoidance of triggers like stress, certain foods, and, crucially, animal dander. Even with this serious diagnosis, my parents treated my health issues like an annoying inconvenience. Doctor appointments meant Mom would sigh dramatically about rearranging her schedule. Emergency room visits? Dad would complain about the medical bills on the drive over. Victoria, on the other hand, was the picture of health. Energetic, outgoing, a high school soccer star. My parents never missed a single game. They'd be in the stands with giant homemade signs, sharing her name. I'd be right there with them, often dizzy or nauseous from a flare-up, but determined to support my sister despite my parents' constant neglect of me. As we got older, the disparity only deepened. When it came time for college, they told me they could only afford to help one of us financially. Naturally, since Victoria wasn't academically inclined, she would need the support more. So, I worked 3 jobs, clawed my way through college, and graduated with a 4.0 GPA. Victoria? She dropped out after 1 semester because it was too stressful. My parents' response? They comforted her by buying her a brand new car. Despite all this, I held on to a desperate hope that someday, they would truly see me. I kept trying to earn their approval, their attention, their love. I graduated with honors, landed a great job, and always made sure to visit home regularly. Full story on the channel link below. Click now and watch what happened next.